गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत नः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नं
Humble salutations at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Baba and loving Sairam to each and everyone present here. Today, we, the Mulund Samiti, have the pleasure in introducing Dr. Sai Giridhar Sairam from the campus of Prashanti Nilayam. Dr. Sai Giridhar joined Sri Satya Sai School of Higher Secondary Education in 1999. He completed his Bachelor's of Science degree in Chemistry in the year 2004. Holds a Master's of Science in the same field, as well as a Master's degree in Philosophy. All of them from the Prashanti Nilayam Campus of Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. Dr. Sai Giridhar holds a doctorate in clinical biochemistry and has worked on early detection of heart disease in Asian Indians, a study of biomarkers. He has received several awards from the divine hands, such as Cultural Champion in 2003 and 2005, and Sports and Cultural Captain in undergraduate and postgraduate classes. He has enjoyed many blessed moments, talks, and cultural program opportunities in the divine presence, including Chennai's Athi Rudra Mahayagnam and Kodaikanal in 2007, and Prasanti Vidwan Mahasabha, among others. Dr. Sai Giridhar currently serves as Resident Fellow at Sri Satya Sai Center for Human Values, Prashanti Nilayam. Dr. Sai Giridhar has conducted several guided meditation sessions during this COVID-19 period. We are thankful to you, dear sir, for accepting our invitation, though given at a short notice, for our inaugural Zoom online Sai session. Handing over the session to you, Giridhar Bhaiya. Jai Sai Ram.
सर्वरूपधरं शान्तं सर्वनामधरं शिवं सच्चिदानन्द अद्वैतम् सच्चिदानन्द अद्वैतम् सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरम् offering our most reverential and humble salutations at the divine lotus feet of our most beloved Bhagavan, Sri Satya Sai Baba. Once when Sri Kasturi Ji, the translator of Bhagavan's divine discourses, the biographer of Bhagavan's life, was so overwhelmed with the divine presence of Bhagavan, he asked, Swami, who really are you? Bhagavan very spontaneously replied and said, Sarvarupadharam Shantam. I am the one who has assumed all the forms in the entire cosmos, and yet I am the absolute, silent, unassuming substratum of the universe. Sarvanamadharam Shivam. Every name is given to a form. While Bhagavan assumed all the forms in the entire cosmos, all the names too were his, and hence all names are Shivam, auspiciousness. Satchitanandam Advaitam. While Bhagavan pervades the multiplicity of the entire creation, he is not many, he is one and only one alone. Satchitananda, Bhagavan often declared, is his true name and form. The true name and form of divinity is always Sat, being, Chit, awareness, Ananda, the awareness of being, reveals one's own nature to be bliss. That Bhagavan said is his true nature. But because this is so incomprehensible to a simple, ordinary mind, time and again, supreme divinity incarnates in flesh and blood, where he is seen to be Satyam, the very embodiment of truth, Shivam, auspiciousness itself, and Sundaram, beauty itself. Once, when a devotee told Bhagavan, Swami, you are very beautiful, Swami corrected him and said, I am not beautiful, I am beauty itself. Sundaram is his form. That Bhagavan, who is now present here in the form of the listeners of this satsang, a humble and loving salutation and Sairam to all of you. The topic given today is online Sai. While we welcome you all to this satsang on online Sai, it is very interesting to note what is the meaning of this online Sai. We all are now specially driven by the current circumstances all over the world, more and more used to the technology in our hands, that is the mobile phone, the laptops and whatnot. While we use these devices, we often face some troubles with connectivity. We find ourselves to be online and offline quite often. And why does that happen? We are said to be online if the connectivity between us, our device, and the internet is perfect. And often we go offline if the connectivity is lost. We must understand here that our presence, the presence of our mobile, and the presence of the internet is always there. But it is the connectivity that determines whether we are offline or online. In the same way, Bhagavan would often inspire us to look forward to the connectivity to not just the internet, but the inner net. The connectivity to the inner net also can go online or offline. If the connectivity is lost, we are offline with Sai. But if the connectivity is established, then we become online with Sai. So, in today's satsang, we will explore a few possibilities beginning with what is foremost in our mind, that is the pandemic that is troubling us, and what is Bhagavan's message during such an occasion. And eventually, we will go on to see how to have indelible connectivity with our beloved Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai. To begin with, we all are experiencing a very difficult situation. The pandemic has been extremely testing for most of us all over the world, and many of you have been homebound, locked down, and unable to even move out. There are many, many challenges. What does Bhagavan say regarding these challenges that we face, either in the form of natural calamities or man-made calamities? It so happened in the year 2001, the state of Gujarat had experienced one of the most testing and extremely difficult situation of earthquake. The earthquake was of such a magnitude that everybody was brought down to the dust. Everything that they possessed, the rich and the poor alike, were brought to the streets because there was mass scale destruction due to this natural calamity of earthquake. Bhagavan immediately responded to this situation and arranged for 50 truckloads of relief material and hundreds of young enthusiastic Sai Sevadals who were employed to do the seva. Bhagavan went to the extent to tell them, don't discriminate between the rich or the poor. Everyone has been brought down to the street, and hence look at who is in need. Serve the needy like you're serving your own. That is the kind of love that Bhagavan infused in the hearts of the Sai army, the volunteers who had gone and served during the Gujarat earthquake in 2001. So when this was happening, there were a couple of questions that were posed to Bhagavan, which I would like to share with you all now. One question that was asked to Swami in the Sai Kulwant Hall in Prashanti Nilayam, this was a very, I can't say it's private because Bhagavan was standing outside, but it was a closed session. Swami would stand in the Ganesh portico where currently Bhagavan's Mahasamadhi is, and would hours together speak to the students and the professors around. This was one such occasion. Bhagavan had flagged off the 50 truckloads of relief material to Gujarat. And then this question was posed to Swami. Swami, there is often an apprehension as to why God causes this kind of calamities, this kind of tests in human life. Bhagavan's response was spontaneous and immediate. Bhagavan said, God never causes calamities in humans' life. It is humans' mind and their own actions that determine what they face today as natural calamities. Bhagavan went on to illustrate by giving an example. Swami placed his hand in this manner and he said, the earth has got a perfect balance all the time. But what happens is, due to man's unending desires and the various negative tendencies that are built up in the human mind and which is often expressed in the world, what happens is the nature's resources are often set to imbalance. So he goes on depleting the nature's resources, and as a result, the balance that was there in the nature originally is offset. Swami did this and showed. And then Swami explained and said, nature is our mother. So she has the greatest sense of concern for each one of us. And hence, she tolerates as much as she can. But when her pain goes beyond the threshold levels, she cannot take it anymore. And she just gives out a sigh out of immense pain and says, ah, and that is what you see as tsunamis and earthquakes. and every other calamity that mankind experiences, in one sense or the other, is a reflection of man's mind and his actions. So man has to own up responsibility for what he is doing in nature, and that is what is reflecting back to him in the form of natural calamities. It is not a God planned endeavor. Swami went on to further explain and say, God in fact does the exact opposite. When man hurts himself through his stupid actions, through his selfish actions, what God does is he runs to the rescue of man out of immense compassion. God is Karunamaya Swarupa. Bhagavan is Karunamaya Swarupa. He runs to the rescue of his devotees. Here is a beautiful story. Many of us may have heard this, but in this context, it shows the compassion of the Lord. There was one student who was impending a great calamity in his residence, and Bhagavan, the all-knowing, omniscient Lord that he is, he recognized this calamity and he went about physically asking for the student in the Prashanti Mandir. When the student was not found to be there, Bhagavan took his car and came all the way to the senior boys hostel in Prashanti Nilayam and inquired about the student. And everybody was wondering that Bhagavan has come all the way in search of this boy. This boy was always engaged in service activities of one form or the other. And that day too, he was engaged in some activity and he was having a shower before he could go to the mandir. But Bhagavan was in such a state of urgency that Swami decided to come all the way to the hostel and inquired about the student. And Swami found out that the student is actually in the topmost floor in the hostel. So Swami went all the way up to that place. There is a place called a complex where there are shower rooms in the hostel. And Bhagavan went there, finding that the student was still having a shower. The student's shaving cream was left outside on the sink. So what Bhagavan did was, he took the shaving cream, applied on his hand, rubbed it nicely, and applied all over his face. And nobody could understand this extraordinary act of the divine. So Swami applied the shaving cream all over his face, and he started washing his face. And the student who was witnessing this ran to his room and immediately got a fresh towel for Swami to wipe his face. Swami gave a beautiful smile to that student and wiped his face, gave it back to the student, and rushed back to Mandir the same way that he came. The student inquiring about whom Bhagavan had come all the way to the hostel, he completed his shower and he was shocked to know that Bhagavan had come all the way. And in fact, the incident that happened there, that is Swami taking his shaving cream and applying on his own face, was something really shocking for him. So what he did is he rushed to the mandir, and when he had an audience with Swami, Swami revealed what really had happened. Bhagavan said that today was a fateful day when that child, that boy's mother, was to pass away in a gas accident, a fire accident in the kitchen. And this was inevitable because of the destiny that she had to face. But Bhagavan saw the kind of dedicated service that this boy and his family does and decided that this mother has to be saved. Moved by compassion in his heart, Bhagavan said, something needs to be done. But when he saw the amount of spiritual merit that was there in the boy's account was slightly less than that was needed to shower this kind of a grace. So what Bhagavan did is he came all the way to the hostel, took a small aspect of his property, which is the shaving cream, and made use of it himself, as if the boy had offered that little bit of the shaving cream to Bhagavan himself. That little offering, just like how Lord Krishna, when Bhagavan was present on earth as Lord Krishna, he accepted that small, tiny offering that was present in the Akshay Patra, which Draupadi had left. And he took that, and Durvasa and his 10,000 disciples were completely satiated of their hunger. In the same way, a small offering to the Lord is enough to fill his heart with compassion, to shower immense grace. And Bhagavan saved the life of the mother of that student on that day, just for this small act. And the student didn't even endeavor to do that because he was totally unaware. Bhagavan's compassion is such that he rushed to save the devotee, and he himself took the shaving cream, applied on himself, accepted the offering, and showered the grace as well. That is the compassion of our Karunamaya Bhagavan. So Bhagavan said that God always rushes to the devotee's rescue. He never causes calamities in the life of a devotee. Yes, the Guru definitely poses tests to the disciple, but calamities are not caused by the Guru. In fact, Bhagavan on one occasion had stopped receiving letters. He told the students, I'm not going to take any more letters from you. Stop writing the letters. You keep writing hundreds of letters, hundreds of prayers, hundreds of complaints, whatnot. I'm going to stop taking any of this. So much so that Bhagavan went on to say that even Pada Namaskaram will be stopped. So the students were pleading with Swami. They said, please Swami, don't do this. Don't stop us from writing letters to you. How will we reach out to you? So one of the senior professors seated there, Professor Anil Kumar Garu, who is also Bhagavan's translator, he took the courage as usual and told Swami, if you don't take letters, what if there is an emergency situation? If a student or a devotee is in an emergency, they want to convey that message to you immediately. So how will they convey it to you? Bhagavan said, do you think they need to write a letter in order that I know that they are in a difficult situation? That is not at all necessary. Moment they think of me, I'm completely aware of what is happening with them. I already know what is happening with them. But remember this, you use the word called emergency. Note this, and I declare, said Bhagavan, for the devotees of Sri Satya Sai, there is nothing called emergency. There is nothing called emergency. This was a divine declaration that Bhagavan had made. On the same occasion as the Gujarat relief efforts that were being flagged off from Prashanti Nilayam, Professor Anil Kumar ji also asked another question. In fact, he expressed his heart to Swami and said, Swami, what a great seva you're doing for humanity, sending them 50 truckloads of relief material and whatnot. Who will react with this kind of spontaneity? It's a great seva, Swami. Swami immediately asked the professor, me intlo pillalunnara, which means, are there children at your residence? He said, yes, Swami. Valu kinda padite, debba tagilte, nuvem chestavu? If they fall down and hurt themselves, what will you do? The professor immediately replied, Swami, I will rush to their rescue, give them first aid, caress them, cajole them, and give them solace so that they are calm and they don't feel bad about the incident, and the first aid is given so that they heal themselves as well. So that is what I would do, Swami. Swami then very sweetly told the professor, Idi nuvu chese sevana, what you do to your children, is this service that you're doing? Then Bhagavan gave a pause and said, Idina panira, he said, this is my work, my duty as a divine parent. When I see my children suffer, even though it may be because of their own mistakes, but when I see them fall down and suffer and they are in pain, I rush to them to save them, to give them solace, to give them the necessary first aid so that they may heal from their own hurt. So these were the divine words of Bhagavan. So divinity does not cause calamities. divinity rushes to us, who out of our own foolishness land in such difficult situations. Us here, I refer to the entire mankind. So, Bhagavan revealed on that day the secret that man's mind is the cause of the difficulties that we face, and God, the ever compassionate one, is there to protect us all the time. But God, who is omnipresent, how can he ever be offline with us? He is always online with us. That is what Swami says. I am all the time with you, not just with you, in you, around you, above you, below you, everywhere. I am all the time present. But as Shirdi Baba beautifully said, and as it is registered in the Shirdi Sai Satcharitra, Shirdi Baba describing the relationship between the disciple and the Guru, just like that of the mother tortoise and the small turtle, the small baby tortoise which is there. He describes the equation and the nourishment that is conveyed between the two. What happens is the babies are on the other bank of the river, and yet when they are hungry, they just look up to the mother. The mother tortoise immediately senses that the baby is in urgent need of nourishment and merely confers her glance back on her children. The moment the mother tortoise confers her glance back on the children gain nourishment. Shirdi Baba beautifully describes this in Satcharitra and says that the relationship between devotee and Bhagavan, Bhakta and Bhagavan, the relationship between Guru and Shishya is just like this. The disciple or the devotee merely has to look unto the master, unto Bhagavan, and Bhagavan immediately showers and confers his unending kripa drishti on the disciple or the devotee. All that we need to do is to look up to Bhagavan. I would like to share a personal experience here when Bhagavan reiterated this point very, very strongly. This was in the year 2007. The location was Sai Shruti Bhagavan's Mandir in Kodaikanal. And every Kodaikanal trip that Swami would take students, there is a special element in the Kodaikanal trip. And that special element is what is called as the Kodai watch. Swami would often say watch means watch your words, watch your actions, watch your thought, watch your character, and watch your heart. The Kodai watch was very, very unique because not only did it teach us this lesson of watch, that is to, step back and be careful with our words, action, and thought and develop good character and good heart, but it was also a beautiful material insignia that would remain with us. And it was very unique. Every Kodai trip had a unique watch. And if you look at a student wearing a particular Kodai watch, you can say which year the student accompanied Bhagavan. So it was that kind of, very, very particular and specific in its nature. And this Kodai trip, 2007, it so happened, one day Bhagavan came out and he was holding this watch in his hand, and he decided to do the special advertisement of his own watch that day. And Swami opened the watch and showed it to us and said, "Who wants this watch?" And of course, all the students raised their hands. And Swami didn't stop there. He went on to say, "See, this is a beautiful golden watch. Not only is it a beautiful golden watch, look carefully into the dial of this watch. There is Swami also in there. There was a beautiful photograph of Bhagavan inside the watch. Right? I'll just show it to you. I hope you can see. So Swami pointed to this golden watch, and there is a beautiful small photograph of Swami in Abhaya Hasta inside the watch. So Swami was, marketing this to us in that sense, in a very beautiful, humorous way. And he said, "See, this is a beautiful Kodai watch. It's a golden watch, And inside that, Swami kuda unnaru. Evariki kavali? Swami is also there. Who wants this watch? So all of us were very enthusiastic and raised our hands. And Swami very lovingly went about distributing these watches to everybody. But when he came near me, he royally ignored my presence. And unfortunately, the 2 or 3 brothers who were sitting right next to me or behind me were also subject to the neglect, the divine neglect, because of me. So this was, of course, a longer story that started from the Chennai trip in that very year, but we will not go into that at this point of time. But let's explore this beautiful lesson that Swami gave us through this watch. So Swami did not give me this watch, and so did the 4 or 5 people around me. They must be wondering what they did. They did not know it was because of me. Swami was teaching me a lesson. So Bhagavan went around and distributed the watch to everybody. So in brief, if I am to say, one lesson I learned in the Chennai trip, which happened in the January of 2007, was we always run behind the Lord's creations, forgetting the Creator. Once it happened that in the Brindavan hostel, in the Whitefield ashram of Bhagavan, Swami had materialized a beautiful ring that the father of Mother Kausalya, the mother of Sri Rama, had given to Sumantra, who was the minister of Dasharatha. Sumantra had rescued Mother Kausalya from the river. Ravana had kind of done some magic on her, and he had made her to go into sleep and put her in a box and pushed her into a river because he did not want Dasharatha to have children. So he, as a great astrologer, Ravana as a great astrologer, he foresaw this and he did that. So Sumantra, who was going on the banks of the river, saw a floating object and he immediately brought it out. When he opened, he saw a young princess who came out of the box. So what Sumantra did is he inquired with her and safely took her to her father in Dakshina Koshala kingdom. And Mother Kausalya's father presented a beautiful gift, a ring to Sumantra for saving Kausalya's life. So Bhagavan narrated this story and materialized this ring, which was given to Sumantra. It was a big ring. And then he was showing all the students. So what the students did was, everybody came in line, looked at the ring and touched it and took blessings and walked away. After a while, Swami pointed out to what was happening and said, look at this unique predicament. All of you come and take the blessings of what was created, but you have forgotten who created. That is Bhagavan's divine hands. Nobody touched Swami's hands. They touched the ring, took blessings and went away. So Swami said, your attention is on my creation, but not on the creator. So this was a lesson that I carried from the Chennai trip in 2007. So Bhagavan was extending the test to see if this lesson was learned. So when he did not give the watch to me, I said, Swami, I am not interested in what you have to give as material gifts, though it is your prasadam. My only focus is you, Swami. So I was very, very happy that Swami is testing, because when the Guru is testing, you know what is the unique thing about it? His complete attention is on you. When the Guru is testing you, when Bhagavan is testing you, his complete attention is on you. So when you're going through difficulties, take it as an opportunity to grow spiritually. Bhagavan told one of our professors, Shri Satya Sai Baba, SSSB, he said, do you know what this means? So the professor, of course, said Shri Satya Sai Baba. Bhagavan said, no. SSSB means, first S is Seva. That is what I want all my devotees to engage in. Selfless service, Seva. The second S is suffering. Suffering or pain is inevitable in life. You have to face suffering or pain, right? They are even tests. Mostly they are your own making, but sometimes God uses those situations to test the disciple or the devotee as well. So you must use this period of suffering for the third S. What is that? Self-enquiry, self-audit and self-enquiry. Self-audit to purify our actions, purify our thoughts, words and deeds, and self-enquiry into the nature of who we really are. Both these come under the realm of self-enquiry. First S, seva. Second S, suffering. We must use that situation to do sadhana, that is self-enquiry. When we are successful in this sadhana, by His divine grace, we get B, that is bliss. So Bhagavan said SSSB means seva, suffering, self-enquiry, bliss. So in this manner, when Bhagavan was putting me to the test, I was elated because now his attention is on me. And I said, Swami, I don't want anything other than you. I want only you, Bhagavan. And in that way, the sadhana was going on for a few days. 2-3 days went by and Bhagavan was still testing to see. So a day came when we would do Pada Seva in rotation. It was my turn. And I had the chance to do Pada Seva of Bhagavan's divine lotus feet. And while doing Pada Seva, you know, what we do is we look down. We don't look up at his face because we're so close to Swami's physical body that if we look up at him, it will be literally like staring at Bhagavan. So if we look down and focus on our duty, the beautiful divine duty, Swami will then look at people around and interact with them. So I was looking down and pressing his feet, and suddenly that what is called as Shabda Brahman, you know, Bhagavan would say, Devudu Shabda Brahma Mayudu. God is the very embodiment of sound. The sound that emanates from him resulted into this entire creation itself. When that source of the creation, Bhagavan, in his bass voice, he says, hey, you know, the entire creation literally awakens. In the same way, Swami just said, hey, and immediately I got up with a jitter and looked at Swami. And Swami asked, did you get the watch? And I just kept silent because that is the best thing to do. Then Bhagavan went on to say, did Swami ever give you a watch? And that was a very beautiful, interesting question, because that means anytime that Bhagavan had given a watch, you have to report that. So I said, Swami, yes, in my 11th standard, you had given a watch as a prize for the sports and cultural meet. That was given by you, Swami. I'm so grateful for that. Bhagavan said, is it there with you now? I said, no, Swami, it is not here. It is at home. Then Bhagavan said, Ayyo papam, watch dorkaleda ippudu. Oh, so sad. You have not received watch, is it? Then I said, no, Swami, this time I have not received, but it is okay. Then Swami said, Ayyo papam, enduku atla? And then he called one of the teachers and asked them to get the watches that were distributed. And then look at how beautifully the master uses every instance, every minutest aspect of life to teach the most profound lessons in life. So Bhagavan brought out this box again and he said, see, this is the watch that I had given on the other day. You didn't get, isn't it? So I'm going to give it to you, but with a lesson. You know what this is? This is not just a watch. Look at this very, very carefully. This has a beautiful, strong outer covering, isn't it? When you open the outer covering, you see a clean, transparent cover inside that. Inside the clean, transparent cover, you see the golden watch. And inside the golden watch, you see Swami, isn't it? Bhagavan then went on to explain, this solid, beautiful, strong box is the body that I gifted you all. I remember another instance here in the Sai Kulwant Hall, when Bhagavan went up to a professor who was with folded hands and eagerly looking at Bhagavan, and Swami was going on staring at the wrist, the arm of the professor. There was a golden bracelet which Bhagavan had materialized and given that professor. And the professor thought that Swami was interested to see it. So he pulled his shirt back and showed it to Swami and said, Swami, idi meere icharu. This is given by Swami only. He told Bhagavan this. So Bhagavan looked at him, smiled and said, Idi evariccharaya. Who gave you this human body? It was my gift to you. The human body is my divine gift to you. It is the rarest of opportunities to get the human life, and that is God's gift to you, Bhagavan said. So, in that same spirit, that day Swami explained, this beautiful, strong body I have given you is my gift to you. Now, inside, if you see, there is a clean and clear, pure mind that I gifted you. Now, this is how I gifted you the mind. That is, Bhagavan is telling this, that Bhagavan gifted us a pure mind when we were born as children. But what we made out of it, only we know that, right? So he said, I gave you a pure and clean mind, like this cover here. Inside, at the core of your mind, is the golden heart. And in the golden heart, I reside, said Bhagavan. Look at this beautiful analogy. This is the beautiful, strong body, gift of Bhagavan. Inside that is the crystal clear mind. Inside that is the golden heart. And in the golden heart, Hridaya, Hrid plus Daya, the heart filled with compassion, the very presence of divinity, Bhagavan himself shines forth from there. Now Swami asked, tell me really, are you actually interested in the box, the outer cover, or this transparent polythene cover, or are you interested in the golden watch with Swami in it? So we all said, Swami, we are interested in the watch. He said, in the same way, while I have gifted you a beautiful body, it is important that you take care of your body, right? But don't give too much attention to it. In the same way, I have given you a beautiful mind. It is important that you take care of the mind. But again, don't follow the mind. Don't follow the body. Don't follow the mind. What you are really interested in should be the golden heart, Hridaya, in which Bhagavan himself resides. So all your attention or your maximum attention should be focused on your Hridaya, where Bhagavan is the inner resident of your heart. He didn't stop there. He closed the watch and said, just like all of you, this body too has a name. And the name is HMT, Human Mind Time, said Swami. Human Mind Time. And the master stroke was yet to come. He said, like you, not only does it have a name, but also he slid the box into a white cover like this, in which it was originally present, and said, just like you, even this wears white dress. Like all the students are wearing white dress, just like you, even this watch wears a white dress. This was a perfect analogy. A small box, a watch box that Bhagavan took and taught us such a profound lesson. Now, how do we learn a unique lesson in eternal connectivity with the inner divine presence of Bhagavan through this beautiful analogy of watch? Bhagavan often tells us that we are not one but three. That is the one we think we are, that is the body. The one which others think we are, that is the mind. And the one which we really are, that is the Atma, which shines through the spiritual heart. So, Bhagavan's presence permeates all of these. Sarva Rupa Dharam Shantam, he said. All the spheres of existence is permeated by Bhagavan himself. It so happened in another session in Kodai in 2007 that Swami was talking about his journey to Badrinath. Recently, we saw Radio Sai release beautiful pictures of Bhagavan's trip to Badrinath with short notes on what happened on that given day, commemorating Bhagavan's trip made in the early 1960s. So Swami was describing his journeys to Rishikesh and Badrinath, and there was this great sage called Swami Purushottamananda, whom Swami had gone and given Jyotir Padmanabha Darshan and blessed him abundantly. Now, after blessing Swami Purushottamananda, Bhagavan had also materialized a huge Spatikamala which was given to the sage, and the sage had said that when this body is put into the Samadhi, the sage told his disciples that the body must be placed along with this beautiful Spatikamala given by Bhagavan. And that happened the very next Shivaratri after Swami blessed the sage with his divine darshan. And when the Mahasamadhi of the sage was happening in Rishikesh in Vashishta Gufa, here Bhagavan in Prashanti Nilayam on the Shivaratri day was telling the people, the devotees around, that the sage has reached me and he has asked that his Samadhi be made along with the Spatikamala that Bhagavan had blessed him with. Swami was narrating all these wonderful experiences through his own Sri Mukham, and he looked at the convener of the Satya Sai Trust, Tamil Nadu, at that time, Shri G.K. Ramanji, and said, Enna Raman Purushottamananda Patacha. What Raman, have you seen Purushottamananda? And his beautiful, humble reply was, Swami, enakku theriyadu Swami, I have not seen Swami. Then he went on to ask, Bhagavan went on to ask, Shivananda theriyuma? Do you know Shivananda? Then the reply of the convener, Sri Ramanji, was, Swami, I have not had the good fortune of meeting that saint as well. So before Swami could, ask about somebody else, Ramanji, in all his humility, confessed to Bhagavan and said in Tamil, Enakku yarum theriyadu Swami, neenga ottardan theriyum. I don't know anybody else, Swami. I know only you. Listening to these words, Swami became very intense for a moment, and then pointing to himself, he said, Idi okati telusukunte chalu. If you know this one, it is enough. Ekoham bahusyam, declared Bhagavan. As it is said in the Upanishads, Bhagavan declared, the revealer of the Upanishads to the sages, the Parabrahman Bhagavan himself uttered through his Sri Mukham, Ekoham bahusyam. I am that one that has become many. So everything in this entire creation is Bhagavan. The physical body and the physical creation is permeated by Bhagavan. The mind and the thoughts and the universal mind is permeated by Bhagavan. And it is Bhagavan, the Brahma Swarupa, which is verily present as Atma. And hence he says, Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutas Sanatana. He is verily the Atmic presence. That is our true nature. And that is the energy that allows this creation to function and happen. In the presence of that witness, the entire creation happens. That Atmic presence is Bhagavan himself. So the body is permeated by Bhagavan. Hanuman showed it amply when he showed that every atom in his body reverberated with the presence and the name of Sri Rama. It happened not merely because of the continuous chanting of his divine name, but through his sadhana, Hanuman was able to manifest this truth that every ounce, every atom of the physical creation is permeated by Rama, permeated by Bhagavan himself. So is every thought form and energy is permeated by his divine presence. That is why Swami says in Vishnu Sahasranamam, it is mentioned Vishvam Vishnu. Vishvam Vishnu means the all-pervading one. The entire Vishwam, that is the whole cosmos, is pervaded by him in the form of the mind and the presence, the Atma itself. So the mind, which is one mind that permeates the entire cosmos, is also called as Vishnu, and hence it is also Vishwam Vishnu. That is also pervaded by divinity. And finally, the core of all this drama of creation is the divine presence, which is absolute Parabrahman himself, which is Bhagavan, verily in his true self, the true nature of Bhagavan. So, when our body is permeated by Bhagavan, our mind is permeated by Bhagavan, our very presence is Bhagavan himself. When the bronze statue was brought into Prashanti Nilayam, some of you may have seen this beautiful photographs of the bronze. It's a multi-metal amalgam, that is, but predominantly bronze, which is now present in the Prashanti Bhajan Mandir. The installation has beautifully happened there. When it came way back in the early 2000s, the students who were serving Swami did not like the statue at all. They told this, right at Swami's behest when he said, "What do you think about it?" They said, "Swami, frankly, we don't like it." So it was an exquisite piece of art. So Bhagavan said, "It is so beautifully done. Why do you say like this?" So they said, "Swami, we are seeing your darshan every day. We enjoy the bliss of your direct darshan. We don't feel like looking at a statue of yours when you are physically present here." Then Swami said, "What if I am not physically present here?" Then they replied and said, "Swami, but there is still time for that." Swami asked, "How much time?" They said, "Swami, you have said 96 years. Swami said, "See, I am divinity. If I declare 96 years, I can also decide when to go. I can go earlier or I can go later." Of course, the students prayed to Swami and said, "Swami, please then extend it as much as possible." But Bhagavan has his own divine Leela for the welfare of the entire cosmos to happen, and he decided what he decided. Now, coming back to this incident, Bhagavan said, "You know what? If you pay complete attention to your heart, that is the source of your being, and realize my presence in your heart, my presence in your heart is your own true self. And on realizing that, all this perception of differences between my avataric form and the statue, all this will vanish. All you will see is me and me alone. So endeavor to realize my presence in your heart." So Bhagavan's presence in our heart is verily our own true self and the divine presence incarnate itself. Bhagavan's essence is present in our heart. So physically we are permeated by Bhagavan, mentally we are permeated by Bhagavan, and our very core of our being is Bhagavan himself. Now, when there is only Bhagavan in this manner, the question of connectivity still comes up. So this is really surprising, isn't it? So online and offline Sai here. Online with Sai means when we feel connected with Sai, we call it online. And when we lose this connectivity. So what is this connectivity here? When we are aware of his presence, that is connectivity. Because his presence, just like the example we began the satsang with, in the online connectivity with regard to the internet is always there. Your device is always there. The online or offline is determined by the connectivity, like the mobile network connectivity, isn't it? In the same way, the divinity pervades all of creation, your body, mind, and heart. Your presence, that is in the form of the body and the mind and the heart, is always there. At this moment, when both of that is present, what is missing? Connectivity. What is this connectivity? The awareness of presence of Bhagavan is the connectivity. So how do we then establish this connectivity permanently and ever be online side and never offline side? So for this, we will look at some simple sadhanas that Swami has given us at the physical, at the mental, and at the heart level, right? 3 simple, quick sadhanas you all can follow. So I request you to please sit straight wherever you are, sit comfortably, but sit straight. Swami would often tell us it's very important to keep your spine straight, especially those who are doing studies or those who are doing spiritual sadhana or concentrating on any work. It is essential that your spine is kept straight from the base all the way up to the head, right? Please sit comfortably, relax, and sit straight. First level of connectivity, Bhagavan present in the human system, the human body. In this situation of pandemic, what do we want to do? Prana Raksha, isn't it? We want to do Prana Raksha. But can we do Prana Raksha? We can take precautions. Prana Raksha is done by the one who gives life force to prana itself, and that is Bhagavan. Bhagavan is present in our system, the human body, in the form of prana. The prana Shakti itself is the divine presence in a physical way that we experience it. So the simple sadhana that Bhagavan gives us, all of us, please sit straight, close your eyes, and ensure that your chin is slightly placed up, not too high, not too low, but slightly up. Now, concentrate your attention, the point between your eyebrows. Focus your attention between your eyebrows and slightly bring it down to the point where the nostril, the nose, joins the forehead. Slightly bring it down to the point where the nose joins the forehead. Keep the attention fixed there. If you're having difficulty in focusing the attention, you may visualize Bhagavan's form there or the form of your Ishta Devata. While you fix your attention there, observe your breathing. See how the incoming breath and the outgoing breath changes direction at the point where you have fixed your attention. As you breathe in, observe the sound of the breath which says so, which means he or Bhagavan. As you breathe out, observe the sound of the breath that says hum. That means I am he. Soham means I am he. So hum. Continue to keep your focus there and observe your breath, which is natural. When you practice this for some time, now you see yourself. Is there any anxiety, any worry that you are encountering? The more and more you practice, deep sense of peace dawns in us, and all the fear and worry of the surrounding events immediately vanish in the presence of Bhagavan as our life breath in the form of Soham. Bhagavan says, why fear when I am here? This is an experience of his presence in the physical body. Now we quickly move on to the next exercise given to us by Bhagavan himself on how to experience him as the all-pervasive mind. Mind has a unique ability. Whatever thought form we focus our attention on, the mind verily assumes that form. Otherwise, mind has got no form. The mind assumes the shape of the thought form we give attention to. Bhagavan, describing this, said, the easiest meditation you can do to experience Bhagavan as our mind is to visualize Bhagavan's entire form from top to toe as he is. I request you to please open your eyes just for a moment. If you have a photograph of Bhagavan, you may first pay attention to that. In this meditation taught by Bhagavan, Swami said, I have made it so easy for you. You see, I have a beautiful crown of hair. I have beautiful facial features. And then you know what? Down my neck, the rope starts and it goes as a straight, posture all the way down. And once you reach the end of the rope, I have lotus feet there. That's it. It's so easy to visualize Swami. And Bhagavan said, I have taken this simple form so that all of you can easily concentrate on this form and attain the highest measure of peace. So while describing this meditation, Swami said, first pay attention to the minutest features of Bhagavan's physical form. Look at the crown of hair, every nuance in the crown of hair, every detail in the crown of hair of Bhagavan. Focus your attention and see Swami's forehead, the broad forehead of Bhagavan, his beautiful eyebrows, his extremely loving eyes and his eyelids, the beautiful nose that Bhagavan has. And you know what Swami said? The line that you see that connects Bhagavan's nose to his forehead, there is a special line. He said, I have specially created that so that you can focus your attention on that. So pay careful attention. Look at that carefully. Look at his beautiful lips, his cheeks, the black mole on his cheek, his chin, then his neck. Then you have Bhagavan's wonderful shoulders and the robe, the buttons, the golden buttons on his robe, and the robe as you come down, you see his hands on either side, the beautiful soft hands of Bhagavan, the divine ever-giving hands of Bhagavan. And as you go down the fold of the robes, carefully noticing every detail, you come to his feet and you see the beautiful divine feet of Bhagavan. Now, Swami's feet has a very unique feature. If you look at his toe, the first toe and the second toe, there is substantial gap between the two. So there is almost a U shape between the two. So Swami in fact pointed out to that and said, pay attention even to that detail of every aspect of his lotus feet. So pay attention to the photograph of Bhagavan that you have and look at all these details very, very minutely, because in this meditation, you're going to mentally sketch Bhagavan in your mind, right? We will now commence this meditation. Again, I request all of you to please sit straight. Close your eyes. Now, sketch Bhagavan mentally in your mind's eye. Begin with the beautiful crown of hair. Sketch every detail, every curl of Bhagavan's hair, the crown of hair, the dense, thick hair of Bhagavan, beautiful crown of hair, every curl of it. Pay attention to that as you sketch it mentally. Come down to his forehead. Look at the broad forehead. Sketch it mentally. Look at the texture of his skin. As you come down, pay attention to his beautiful eyebrows. And then you come between his eyebrows. You see that wonderful line that Bhagavan said that separates his nose from his forehead, that he divinely manifested for us to focus on in his playful nature. On the either side of this line, you see beautiful, compassionate eyes of Bhagavan looking at us with so much love, so much concern, so much care. Look into his eyes for a few minutes, for a few moments. Now come to his wonderful nose, the cheeks on either side, the beautiful black mole on his cheek, coming to his lips, the mandahasa on his lips, then his chin, coming down to his beautiful neck and throat. As we go down further, sketching his form, we see the orange robe begin over his shoulders and it flows all the way down. You see the two golden buttons on his robe. And as you go down, slowly sketching his robe in beautiful orange, you see his slender hands on either sides. Is his Abhaya Hasta, if you feel like, blessing us with his protection eternally. And coming down, sketching his robe all the way down, we see a slight slit in the robe where his dhoti is visible to a small extent with a jari at its end. And then you see his beautiful divine lotus feet. His beautiful divine lotus feet, his tender lotus feet. You come all the way to his toes and visualize the gap between the first and the second toe in his feet. Visualize his toes as if you're having his Pada Namaskar. And now, from his feet, again, paying attention on the sketch that you have done, move upwards. Look at his beautiful dhoti with its border, jari, and you see his robe, the folds in his robe. You go all the way up. You see his tender hands on either side, blessing you. And as you go up, you see the golden buttons on the robe, the orange robe, adorning his shoulders, his neck, his chin, his divine, benign smile, mandahasa, and his beautiful cheeks, the black mole on his cheek, his nostrils, his nose, all the way up to the line that separates his nose from his forehead. On either side, you see his compassionate eyes that look at you with divine grace and love. Pay some attention and time. Be immersed in his gaze. Move upwards. See the beautiful eyebrows and move further up. The forehead, the broad forehead of Bhagavan, the texture of his skin, and the beautiful crown of hair that is there around his face like a divine halo. And now, just move, step back mentally and see the entire form of Bhagavan as you have beautifully sketched in your mind. Your mind verily has assumed the form of Bhagavan. In this way, when you experience his presence as your mind, know this blessing of Bhagavan as he says, why fear when I am here? So we have seen how to experience Bhagavan in the body, in the mind, and finally as our very presence itself. There is a simple meditation that Bhagavan pointed out to. In the early 1980s, Swami went on to say that Swami Vivekananda would have a dot on the wall in front of him and focus his attention on the dot. Traditionally, it is also known in some spiritual scriptures as Vitrata Kriya. So he said that even Ramana Maharshi would focus on a star in the sky and pay complete attention to it. But because when you are on the move, you may or may not have some space to focus on a spot, or it may be daytime and you want to do this meditation, and you may not have a star in the vicinity. So a simple meditation that Bhagavan gave to experience Bhagavan as your Atma, that is the divine presence, just as the way the great sage Ramana Maharshi and Swami Vivekananda had done. Swami gave a solution and said, you can do with something which you always have with you, which is called the thumb. So the thumb is always with you. So use your thumb to do this meditation. Now, what is this meditation? Very, very simple, because in the given respected time, we are trying to see if the tools can be handed to you. You can make use of this tool and practice and expand your experience. So we will practice this tool in very, very simple way. Swami's teaching was simple. Sit straight, keep your spine straight, relax, keep your thumb in front of you in a comfortable position so that your neck doesn't bend. It should be straight like this, along with your back and spinal cord. So that your eyes are able to see the thumb. So keep it at a level where it is comfortable. You can keep it on a table, on a cushion, on any surface, so that your hand doesn't pain and that doesn't distract you. Okay, what is this meditation about? Very, very simple. Bhagavan says the process of this meditation follows the threefold steps of dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. How do you do this? Dharana is concentration. When the concentration is fixed for a substantial time, it becomes contemplation, dhyana. And when that is transfixed for an elongated period of time, it verily is the experience of samadhi. So Bhagavan gave a divine duration of 12 seconds of unwavering attention as one concentration. 12 into 12, 144 seconds. That is 2 minutes, 24 seconds of unwavering attention as one dharana into 12, around 28 minutes is one samadhi. So in fact, Bhagavan would often say that samadhi means you don't have to sit for many hours. In 28 minutes, it's done. So literally, to practice this is very, very simple. So place your thumb in front of you in a way that it is comfortable. Your spine and your head has to be straight. Please ensure that. And now what you have to do is just stare at your thumb for 12 seconds. Just stare at your thumb. Don't entertain any thought. Bhagavan says that the thought is like an unwanted, uninvited guest. Now, sometimes if your best friend comes home uninvited, you may enjoy that situation. But if it is an unwanted guest who comes uninvited, it's not such a good situation, isn't it? So every thought that comes, you have not given invitation. It comes on its own and it goes on its own. So you must allow the thought to go as it came, that is on its own. And don't engage with the thought. So what you need to do is just focus your attention. Why? The mind's faculty of attention has to be fixed on something. Otherwise, it will seek attention. Means it has to need an object to focus itself onto, right? So you have the thumb to fix the attention of your mind. Let thoughts come and go. Don't worry about it. Let thoughts come and go. Don't worry. They're unwanted, uninvited guests. So how do you treat them? Bhagavan gives this example and says, when you have unwanted, uninvited guests, if you give them a glass of water, they'll stay for a cup of tea. If you give them a glass of tea, they'll stay for dinner, right? So don't give attention to them. Okay, so we will commence this practice. Very simple. Simply stare with all your attention on the thumb and don't think anything. When I say don't think, thoughts may come. Don't pay attention to the thoughts, whether it is there or not there. Don't worry. Just look at the thumb. I will keep the count of 12 seconds so that you don't have to worry about that as well. Ready? 3, 2, 1, start. Sairam. See, many of you may experience that it is slightly difficult to concentrate. Many of you may experience that your concentration has improved. Now, we will extend this practice for another 12 seconds, right? Ready? All of you, sit straight, relax. I will keep the time, don't worry, and pay complete attention only on seeing the thumb, not on how it looks, whether you have cut your nail or not, nothing. Just stare at the thumb. That's it, right? Let thoughts come and go. Just like how on a highway, when you're driving your vehicle, on opposite side, there are many cars and scooters that may come by. Do you run behind all of them? No, right? Because they are not yours. They don't belong to you. You don't know them. They are on their own way. In the same way, let thoughts come and go on their own. All you have to do is keep your attention on your driving. That is, your driving is to pay attention on the thumb. That's it. We repeat this exercise again. Ready? I'll keep the count. 12 seconds. 3, 2, 1, start. Sairam. Do you see that it is getting better? In case you're finding still difficulty and there is a barrage of thoughts, these are usually the FAQs, that is frequently asked questions, because this is a one-way satsang. So I'm using the FAQs or frequently asked questions to handle this session as well. So if you're having a barrage, don't worry. Constantly practice this. 12 seconds. Whenever you have 12 seconds of free time, you can just focus on this. You can take any dot also, or just focus on your thumb. And this for 12 seconds is enough to increase your concentration. This concentration will help you perform with greater ease in any activity that you're doing, whether it is studies or work, whatever you may be doing. This concentration will aid you in better performance, perfection in whatever you're doing. Why? Because your 100% involvement will be there when your one-pointed attention or ekagrita is on what you're doing, right? Now we will extend this practice a little more before we conclude this session. So I will not tell you for how long this is going to go. So don't worry about the time. We will just practice this and continue to stare at the thumb and remain like that. Okay? Ready? Sit comfortably. 3, 2, 1, start. Sairam. Through this meditation, one may experience that the thumb may get blurry. You may see a dark circle around the thumb. You may see objects around the thumb vanishing from your vision. You may even see the thumb vanishing eventually from your vision. And you may not feel the heaviness of your body or the burden of thoughts. In the absence of the heaviness of the body and the burden of thoughts, you still are present there. That presence that you are is verily a glimpse of the divine presence shining forth, which is beyond the body and the mind. For those of you who progress in this experience, the more you practice, the more apparent this experience will turn out to be. In this depth of silence, we find Bhagavan present as Shantam, Shivam, auspiciousness, and Advaitam as the non-dual, one divine presence that permeates everybody. So in this manner, we can connect to the divine presence in the body, the divine presence that pervades the mind, and the divine presence that remains as the absolute witness to both the presence or the absence of the heaviness of the body or the burden of thoughts. So Bhagavan is eternally present with us. And in this manner, he's declaring to us from our hearts, why fear when I am here? In this experience of Swami, this connectivity is eternal because his presence is eternal. All that we need to do is become aware of his presence as our prana, as our manas, the mind, and as the divine witness or the presence in the core of our being. Jai Sai Ram.
Sairam, brother Sai Giridhar. It was a wonderful session, at least I have ever attended. You touch upon a lot of points here. Uh, I mean, online is a new concept for youth, but Bhagwan is always online. He is omnipresent, and you are given beautiful examples of Bhagwan's omnipresent, omniscient. Then you have through various experiences, Bhagwan's experiences directly, Bhagwan's love to humanity, and how Bhagwan runs for us like a mother, and with various messages, you explain us and again realize us like how Bhagwan is a Bhagwan loves his creation, and we are basically focusing on creation instead of creator. That was again very beautiful. And one of the most beautiful which I liked about SSSAV, how it was beautifully explained. Like it's a Sri Satya Sai Baba, as Bhagwan said, it's a seva, suffering, uh, self-inquiry, and once we go through everything, then only we'll get the bliss. Then minute details you explain about, like through example of watch, like how that heart is inside us, and I mean it is basically crystal clear when we are born, and simultaneously through our karmas, it is getting polluted. So we need to take care of that. And I mean, it was really beautiful. Like the Bhagwan, like I mean, how Bhagwan thinks and how we think. Like a box, and in that box, like even Bhagwan thinks about that cover, that white dress we wear. It was such a beautiful example. Then you also explain us about this thumb meditation, uh, I mean, beautiful. Many of us know about Soham meditation, but this thumb meditation is like Kratak in yoga, they call it as. It was a very simple and beautiful meditation form, and it can be. I mean, we can do this meditation anywhere, wherever we. It's just 12 second, 12 second into 12 second into the samadhi. We used to think that samadhi is like uh, going to forest and doing some meditation for a longer time, and but it's just so simple. Like anybody can reach to that state samadhi. Thank you, brother, very much. Actually, we are blessed that we got a learned speaker and loving soul like you. I mean, Bhagavan has chosen. I just wonder like how Bhagavan chooses. I mean, human forms like which are. I used to remember like there was Navratna in Akbar's Darbar, but in Bhagwan's Darbar there are so many Ratnas like you and all, and we are blessed. Actually, we are getting uh, a guidance and advice of Bhagwan through your students and Bhagwan's basically messengers. So we really thank you all for accepting this request, and in very short notice, actually you come here for guiding us and having satsang with us. Thank you so much. I also thank team member of this Mulund Samiti who have beautifully arranged this session. This was the first kind of the session we are doing it here in Mulund, and with the guidance of our convener Mr. Rao and our other coordinator Puryankar, Ramesh ji, and all our IT team members and enthusiastic members of Satyaseva organization Mulund Samiti. Thank you so much. Request you to just wait for 2 minutes. We will have Bhagwan's Aarti and then we'll conclude the session. Thank you so much. Thank you all I mean all those devotees who are watching through Zoom and also those who are watching through this YouTube online. Thank you so much, and hope that we will have some more sessions, such kind of sessions through you and with different on different platforms. Thank you very much. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
ॐ जय जगदीश हरि स्वामी सत्य साई हरि भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ॐ जय जगदीश हरि शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आत्माधवा ॐ जय जगदीश माता-पिता गुरुदैवमु मरि अन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरि अन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्राशयन जय जगदीश ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी हो साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती मंगल आरती मंगल गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरि नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण सत्यनारायण नारायण 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 सत्यनारायण नारायण सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण सत्यनारायण नारायण 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 सत्यनारायण नारायण सत्यनारायण नारायण जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य